another piece of detailing. What we're going to do is, this is the stock steering wheel that came with this AMT 65 GTO kit, but the steering wheel in Major Nelson's car was actually a 3-spoke wheel. This clip here is going to show us what I'm talking about when we're taking the kit wheel of a 4-spoke steering wheel and we're going to change it to a 3-spoke. This is going to show you just what I'm talking about. You'll see it here clearly. And there you go. There's your 3-spoke wheel. So that's what we're shooting for, and we'll be right back. So we're going to try to take this, cut out those spokes, and make it into a 3-spoke wheel. So bear with me, we'll be right back. Okay, and to make the modification to the steering wheel, here's what I had to do. First off, I started by removing the steering wheel itself from the steering column. After that was removed, I then cut off the horn button. Okay, that's what that is there. Next, we're going to take this piece right here. Okay, this is the new spokes, 3 spokes for the steering wheel, and this is part of the photo etch kit that we had. We cut this out, and we're going to get this ready, and we're going to glue it on to the end of the steering column. The button will go on top of that, and then we're going to strip this down and attach this to here. So first thing I need to do is, there is, probably hard to see, but there's the little tips here. Hang on, bear with me. Focus. Right, you can see, great footage here, right? This little tip right here. Each spoke has got that little tip. So that I want to bend first. I'm going to bend that outward, flatten it out, so that's going to be our glue point to the steering wheel, so it'll give us something to glue onto. To do that, breaking out my bug, that's what this is called. This is called the bug. Got this online, about 40 bucks, and this is for bending photo etch. Okay, I can tell it's dusty, I haven't used it in a while, but you put your photo etch in here, and then I'll show you actually. Let me get this set up. I'll be right back. Alright, let's see if I can explain what I did here. Alright, as you can see, I put tape on the spokes. This visible spot here is the back end. But I need to bend these parts up towards me right now, towards the back of the spoke. But there's no detail in the back here. It's completely blank. So I put the tape at the very edge of where the detail stops, where I want to bend. So now, when I flip this over to the backside like it is now, I can see how far I need to put it under the bug. So basically, I'm going to slide this in just till the tape line matches up, like so. Okay, press it down, lock it into place. Now it's locked in place. Now take a razor blade, like so. Carefully slide it under, because I don't want to lose my tape. Right up to it, and I bend or fold. Okay, like such. Okay, now I got one bend. Loosen it up, take it out, and now I do the next one. Of course, this is very delicate work. So, bring it under the table. A little bit more. There we go. Press down, lock it in place. Okay. Again with the razor blade. Up. One more time. Okay. Now, let's see if I can get some of this tape off now. See if you guys can see this now. I took the tape off, and as you can see, you see now the edges of each spoke has a flat spot. All right? So that is going to be my glue point for each of the spokes onto the steering wheel. Now I still got to clean up the steering wheel, and then I have to adjust these spokes to, they're not going to be flat, it's going to be, you know, contoured to the steering wheel. But for now, at least that gives me what I need to glue to, so it's a starting point. Alright, so now we'll take on the next step, which is going to be gluing this to the steering column. While that dries, I will then start working on cleaning up the steering wheel, so hang on. Okay, so here's what we did. We took our photo etch steering wheel horn ring, the spokes that is, glued it onto the shaft of the steering wheel, and then the horn ring itself goes on top of it, sandwiched the photo etch piece in between. And again, we bent over those tabs. You can see those tabs at the very end that are folded flat. Okay, that is also done. Now we're going to let this dry really well so it doesn't break, and then we set to work on the steering wheel itself. See this? I took the 4 spokes off, cleaned it up as best as I can. This is a very fragile part, so it doesn't, you know, it's hard to work with. And then also I sanded the outside and the inside the best I could to get down the, make it look better. Okay, now if I put that here where you can see it, someplace you can see it, there you go. Okay, and then if I lay this inside, as you can see, the spokes are longer than the wheel. Again, these spokes aren't supposed to be flat. They are going to be bent towards the front, towards you actually, coming towards the camera a little bit. And then the steering wheel will be, you know, glued to that. So that's where we are. Again, I just want to let this glue set overnight, make it nice and strong, and then we'll attack this in the morning. So hang on, we'll be right back. Okay, so here we are with our GTO steering wheel. Quick recap: what we did is we had taken the original 4-spoke steering wheel, and we cut the spokes off, freeing the column from the wheel itself. Then we took, on the other end of this is the horn button itself. We cut that off of the column, okay, creating 3 parts. Broke away all this, the 4 arms. Then we took our photo etch and we bent the tips, the very edge tips, because remember, this is a flat piece, it's not a 3D piece when you first get it. We bent those tips using the photo etch bug table. Okay. Then we assembled. So we took the flat, except for the tips, the flat piece of the photo etch, glued it to the steering column. Then put the button, the horn button, back on top of the photo etch, so the photo etch is now sandwiched. Then just using eye measurements, I took the horn rings and bent them at an angle. Again, there was no magic to the angle that I used. I just did it to mine eye, and then glued the tips that we had bent previously, and put a little bit of glue in each of those and laid it on top of the steering wheel itself. Now, I had screwed up when I first did it, because if you'll notice, the front side may be a little difficult to notice. It's a rough piece, but it's a very delicate piece too. But the front is a little smooth, and the back has the finger grips. Well, when I first put this together, I put the finger grips on the outside, so I had to pull it apart, and which was a very tricky piece. I'm surprised I didn't screw up the photo etch. But that is our new steering wheel. When it's dry, I might be able to touch it up a little bit more, maybe a little sanding to clean it up, but pretty much that's it. Now it's got to be painted once it's dry. Now, the GTO steering column in Major Nelson's car, or Captain Nelson's, sorry, the column itself is black, like the interior. Okay, the spokes were silver. The horn button and the wheel itself are all blue. So I have to work on figuring out a proper blue for that, but I kind of like that, because that gives that added detail or attention, points of interest in the interior that I'm always talking about. So everything's not monotoned in the same color, so that's going to be kind of cool. So we're just going to put this down, put it aside for a little bit, and let that dry, and then come back to that later, and we'll again try to touch it up, clean it up, and do some painting to it. Alright, we'll be right back. Okay, and here we are, the finished piece for the steering wheel for our Anthony Nelson GTO. As you can see, I did the detail painting. I finished it off, painted the wheel a blue color, probably a little brighter than it should be, but it's what I had, and I'm okay with it. But I trimmed up, get in here, see how close I can get. Ugh, not that close. There we go. I did some cleanup as best as I could on the photo etch parts, trimmed them up, sanded as best as I could. It's still pretty snotty actually, but not much I could do without really taking a chance of destroying it. And after it was all glued, painted the steering column black, painted the wheel blue. The horn ring pieces were all done in, where the spokes were done in silver. The horn ring itself is in blue also. And then that very center piece, you can actually see it's got the Pontiac logo, because that, my friends, is part of the photo etch. We just put that on there, and it adds a little bit of more detail to it. So that's where we are. So this is done. Also, it's hard to tell, but the gauges, I put some clear canopy glue on there to try to make a reflective lens over top of those gauges. Didn't really work too well on this one, because I think they're not too deep. That's why I might try it again, but otherwise that's where we are. Alright, stay tuned, we'll be right back.